And we're on. All right. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Edinburgh today. We're in the MD11 and we're on VATsim. First time on the channel doing so. It's actually been a while for me, so I'm a little bit nervous about it, but we'll see how we go. As we said, we are in the MD11 flying as FedEx 180. The reason is, well, it's a FedEx. But importantly, we've got 180 subscribers to the channel, so thank you very much for being a part of that. If you want to help push us up and increase those flight numbers, do such a thing. Just as I logged in, I saw British Airways Airbus A320 depart, and if we take a look here, it's basically Airbuses all days. We've got a Thomas Cook, what looks like A321 getting ready to go. We've got an EasyJet there, another EasyJet there. Looks to be our first 737. I wonder if that's the PMDG or the Zebo. I guess it all depends if the guy is flying VATsim or xPlane. And then, of course, there's us over here and another EasyJet over there. All right, so our flight today, if we come over to Sim Toolkit Pro, takes us up to VATsim, which is the Faroe Islands. So here we are at Edinburgh, and if we zoom out, and we see we're sort of central Scotland, really. We'll be departing a northerly direction, slightly to the west, and that is roughly 435 miles per the flight plan, so a little shorter as the crow flies, and it is 25,000 feet. We'll be taking one passenger with us, as well as 14,700 pounds. So coming back into the game, or xPlane should I say, I'm going to see if we can get our overlays on today. So let's have a go. And there we go, overlays are on indeed. And yeah, so blocking off with 37,000 pounds of fuel, which is insane. We're only taking 14,700 cargo, but of course we've got to make for a divert and all the final reserves, which is basically probably going to be back here. I can't see the distance being any less for a divert. Destination is just shy of 6,000 foot, so we're really going to have to slam on in the MD11. If you haven't seen Faroe Islands before, the runway is literally over the top of a hill. And so you start going uphill, the middle of the airfield is at the top, and then it's downhill at the other side. So we'll see what we can do. I'm also trying with the camera. If it does your head in, let us know. I'll turn it off. I mean, I don't have to be on screen. I don't particularly like it because I've got to turn this bright light on, otherwise it looks I'm real dim. Some of you may say I'm dim anyway, and then because it's bright I've got to put my shades on, and anyway, otherwise I get an headache. So that said, let's go ahead and make a start. So we'll jump inside, and seeing it is the first time in ages since I've been on VATsim, I'm gonna have to see if I've got my sound set up right. So coming up top, ground power on. I have taken the liberty of opening both the windows. You can see here. We'll keep them both open for now, my side and your side, because it is summer after all, and we are in Scotland. It is, as I do this, Saturday the 26th of August, 2023. Alright, so ground power is on, battery will turn that on, we'll close the cover, arm the standby power, and with it 1, 2 and 3. And there's the self-check. Looks good. Okay. Clear out any MCs. I will just brighten up the, where are we here? Oh, it's always different. There we go, that's what I want, and I also want the same for the lighting in general. Perhaps it's up here. Full blast, that was it. And then this one for the overhead, yes indeed, there we go. So I like to go like that. Logo light, will turn that on. Beacon, not yet. High intensity, which is the strobes, not yet. Everything else, that's good. Smoking, turn that on. Emergency lights, will arm those. And let's see then if we can find Edinburgh. And I'm not sure if their frequencies marry up, so I'm just going to have a little look. Edinburgh ground 12175. We've also got the ATIS 131350, so let's dial both of those in. So 12175. Let's see if we can hear anything. 12175. I will make sure that's on, and then on the other one, 13150. Again, it doesn't always match with the charts. I don't know why, but it doesn't. I'm not sure how the frequency assignments go. You'd think they'd look the real frequencies and use those, but it's not always. It is sometimes, but not always. So I prefer to get the frequencies. I just look at the VATsim app and see, you know, who's on nearest to me and what is their frequency. So here's 131350. Unfortunately, we're not hearing anything, but we are dialed in, and I have confirmed that. And with regards to Edinburgh ground 12175, let's just do a quick radio check. Let's have a look, yeah. Edinburgh ground, good afternoon. FedEx 180 radio check, please. Not off to the best start in the world. If they can't hear, to 1750. Just gonna check my should all be good. Why were those? Hang on, my volume was not. Okay, the volume dials for the MD11 are not connected, so what I've done is just manually dialed up my volume now, so hopefully we'll hear something, but I should really be hearing for other aircraft. We'll keep an ear out. So, but it does concern me that we're not hearing the ATIS. We've got VHF3 as well, which is not simulated in VATsim. Okay, so problems already. We'll see if we get anybody while I continue setting up, and you will not see this video if it goes wrong, so don't worry about that. So let's go over to plan mode. Just check up here, the systems are aligning, so let's make a start with entering these in. Let's standby artificial horizon set. Charts, up one, charts, and it is EGPH. It is this one, 26th of August, 2 days until my girlfriend's birthday. Mustn't forget. I always panic I'm going to forget, because 1 year I did, and by goodness she weren't happy. And I can understand her. I'm crap with names and dates, always have been, and so if there's one date I've got to remember, it's that one. Right. So here we go then. So FMC1, flight plan in it. Can we load the company route? Do we actually get a choice with the company route? Let's just try it. So Echo Golf Papa Hotel to Echo Kilo Victor Golf 01. Company routes. Well, there was no error message, but I'm not seeing it, so I'm not convinced it's worked. So let's just do it the old-fashioned way. EGPH to Echo Kilo Victor Golf. Bang. Alternate. So if it all goes wrong, and I've only got one alternate in today, it's BIAR, which is interesting. We'll have to look where that is because I've no clue. BIAR. I don't know if that's Iceland or if it's Norway, you know, that way on. Let's scroll through the airport to the flight plan. Right, here we go. So there's our plan on regular maps. So Edinburgh up to there. Next page. Usually it shows you your alternate on the map. I'm just thinking, is it over? I don't know, man. Usually they show it. Okay, well, that's a bit problematic. So let's just come over to Sim Toolkit Pro a sec. Navigraph then. Flights, unloads, import flight from SimBrief. This will work. It's this one. I just want to see. Okay, there we are. Is Iceland? It's Northern Iceland. Very interesting. Okay, so that's where we got to carry so much fuel. Okay. Let's do away with that for now. Right, back into xPlane then. Let's carry on. I'm a little concerned I'm not hearing anything on the radio, gotta say. Let's have a look. Yeah, this guy's Pushback and we're not hearing anything. So what is the matter? Because when I look at VATsim, 12175 and ATIS 13135, I've got both of those dialed in. Why am I not hearing them though? I'm thinking there's some sort of problem with the module here because... There we go. What a moron. Let's see now if the volume is working as well. Volume's still not working. It's 100% on nothing. Right, fantastic. It's working now. My bad. My bad there. Just pull the mic out the way. Sorry about that.
EG51 Delta Whiskey, cleared Alder Grove, go Sam 1 charge departure, Squawk 5477 QNH 1008.
Brilliant. Okay, so the problems of VATsim, as you see, and not knowing an aircraft through and through with regards to VATsim. I mean, for some reason, they were working as on-off buttons, but not as volume buttons. And I tried the volume first, it didn't work, and that's what's thrown me. Anyway, never mind. So let's carry on here. So...
Edinburgh ground, apologies for that microphone issue there. EG51 Delta Whiskey, cleared to Alder Grove, go Sam 1 Charlie departure, Squawk 5477 QNH 1008. EG51 Delta Whiskey, be back correct. Hold position for taxi.
Alright, what we're going to do is load up the aircraft, or set it loading, with the following information. So passengers 1, cargo 14.8, interestingly enough, and fuel is 37.7. And then we'll hit up and get our clearance. So total payload is 14.8. So nowhere near what it's capable of. We may, depending on round it up, just have to see. So we'll move the CG forward as much as possible. There we go. Block fuel 37.7. £21 for good measure. Taxi fuel we are expected to use. Let's have a little look. It's the MD11 menu actually blocks me from using There we go. You've got to offset it vertically or you can't drag the page, which is kind of weird. Page 1. Taxi, we're going to be using £1,000 exactly, 10 minutes.
Easy, 51 Delta Whiskey, just confirm the score, 5477 before taxi.
986 will do. Ballast fuel none. Trip, we're expected 15.3, let's put it. 15.3. And you can see the takeoff CG is still way off, despite moving it all the way forward. Zero fuel CG is okay. So the only way around that, I think, if we put more fuel in, does that help? No, that makes it worse. So let's keep the fuel as little as possible. So 30, right on the 37.7. I'm not going to put in an extra pound. We're going to have to increase the total payload. There we go. Just to get our CGs into the white. And so we'll go with £23,000. So we're carrying an extra £5,000 above the plan just to be legal. And you can see we're still right on the edge. I might actually be a little more comfortable if we just take it away from the edge a little bit. And so let's up it to 40. Let's call that 41. £41,000. Let's apply. There we go. Extended controls. Here's where we actually get to move stuff around very precise, but we've already done it. Yeah, we've already done it here, so I'm not going to press anything there and mess it all up, but we're going to have to do it just to get the accurate CGs. This is where I say my mistakes. Not really. It's rotate. It shouldn't delete your settings just because you view another page, especially when you need those settings to get an accurate takeoff. So again, total payload, we was going to have to increase that just to get the CG. Again, I want it in there. So let's go for, again, 37. But other than that, everything's still the same. It's kept the fuel, interestingly enough. Trip fuel 15.3. I guess we can up that a little bit due to the extra weight. So let's say an extra £500 for the extra weight there, but we'll not change anything else. All right, so we'll apply that, and that's it, done. Okay, so let's. I'm just going to make a note on that cargo is not 14.7, but is 37.7, but otherwise the same. Right, initialize IRS. Pause ref is... we're still waiting on that, fine. Okay, so let's ask for our clearance to Vagar as filed. Let's see if it works. Let's just check. I believe it's 25, and it is, yeah, 25,000 feet. Right. Edinburgh ground, good afternoon. FedEx 180 requesting clearance to Vagar as... Don't believe I have filed it. Well, my bad.
Yeah, I don't have a flight plan. Yeah.
Oh dear. It's all going south, innit? Right, let's flight pre-file to VATsim. Just checking I'm secure. Sign in. Allow to give it access. And FedEx there, that looks good. Okay, file. Right, okay, let's try that again. Edinburgh ground, good afternoon. FedEx 180 with a flight plan to Vagar as filed at 25,000 feet, requesting clearance IFR.
Foxtrot X-ray 180, still don't have a flight plan for me. You'll have to try reconnecting.
Bollocks. Bollocks. Copy that. I will try.
Pursue at Bravo. I've got 2205 out of ground.
Right, I've disconnected. Flight plan, let's have a little look. VATsim flight plan. Existing flight plan found. It is in there now, so let's try connecting once again. FX or FDX, it's got to match perfectly. Right, let's try this one more time.
And all stations stand by. Ground will be back in 2 minutes.
Right, he's buggered off now for 2 minutes, which is fine. But otherwise, I think I'm ready now. So, again, this is where if you haven't done it for a while, you're just not in the groove, and it's why as well you get a lot of people on VATsim just doing the same flight, from the same airport to the same airport.
All stations out of ground is back.
Okay, cool. Edinburgh ground, any chance that you've got a flight plan for FedEx 180 yet?
FedEx 180, just gonna need to send you a reroute standby.
Standing by. Brilliant, we've got our flight plan over there. So, again, this is what we've filed in obviously text format to take off from Edinburgh and go this way. Okay, we've gotten our clearance through. FedEx, let's have a little look. Let me just... Yeah, just get rid of that ATC thing to avoid confusion. To 175, which I am on. Greece. Direct foil. November 560. Urson. Nalam. Edinburgh grounds, FedEx 180, that's a clearance. Grice to direct foil, November 560 airway to Urson, direct Nalan.
FedEx 180, you don't need to read back all that, that's fine. I'm going to need you on a different flight level, which is like flight level 260 or flight level 280.
We'll accept flight level 260 for FedEx 180.
FedEx 180, Roger, thank you. Cleared Vagar via the Grice 3 Charlie departure, squawk 2710.
Cleared to Vagar via the Grice 3 Charlie departure, squawk 2710, FedEx 180.
FedEx 180, read back correct. QNH 1008.
Alright then, so we've gotten our clearance, QNH.
Ground, g'day, Easy 807's on Lima for stand 24. Sorry, we didn't see you on our pilot client there. It's, yeah, it wasn't showing, sorry. Easy 807, that's fine, I think, if you're using maybe VATspy, it's not working at the moment. You can taxi stand.
So QNH 1008, I'm just going to turn the radio down a sec while we get underway. So I like that we got a different flight level, and again, because we were ever so slightly trending west, I'm guessing that's why he's given us the odd numbers there. And so coming down here, we've got ourselves, so again, flying as FedEx 180. We've been asked to squawk 2710, so let's type that in before I forget. 2710. Come on, 27. Clear. 2710. There we go. Okay, so that's in. And so the Grice 3 departure, yeah, I really feel a bit off here. So cruising 260 flight level, so that's in there. Winds, let's have a little look. Average wind component -28, so a little bit of a headwind here. So slash, I'm assuming here HD for headwind 028. Let's try it. That's been accepted. Great. Cost index today of 20. I think I'm going to up that a bit just because we are going into the wind, so we'll go for 30. That doesn't impact anything. Radio is a little quiet. There we go, a little higher there. Alright, so page 2 and page 3, those numbers are in. It's just the way that this module works. Rotate automatically puts the weights across. Right, flight plans in. Flight plan, let's go there. So from Edinburgh, Sid, we were looking for the Grice 3 departure, the Grice 3 Charlie, which is this one. And if we take a little look at the old Navigraph, EGPH, we'll put the airport to begin with, so that's there. And then departures for the Grice 3 Charlie, which is here, so there we go. So that clears us up to 6,000, and I don't think there is a departure per se, so once we get there we'll just carry on going. But needless to say, 6,000 is in. It is a southwesterly departure, so if we take a look here we can see on the heading that's going to be 241 degrees. So we'll put that in on the heading, 241. Looks like last time I flew this I was only a degree off. And so that's in there. Right, once there we're going to foil, so let's have a little look here. Once we go there, let's insert runway 24, insert. Alright, so there's the plan. That so far looks great. That matches up with this. Once we get to Grice, it's direct foil. I'm just wondering, how does that compare with our initial flight plan? Did he modify it? Grice direct foil he did. So I've never known him give you ask you to repeat the routing. I don't like here that my McDo is jumping up and down. So there's foil. And after foil is the November 560. Airways November 560 to... now our flight plan takes us to Inbass. He's rerouted us to Urson. Okay, so he's modified my flight plan slightly. Urson, that works. From Urson, it's direct to Nalan, which we've got in there. So we'll insert that. So from Urson, direct NALAN. So if we take a little look, let's see how that modifies things. So if we go to Sim Toolkit Pro real quick, and I just want to do this for the purposes of so we can see what is modified here. So we got Grice, and then he's asked us to go from Grice to foil. So we've got this one, and then from foil They're 560, not to Inbas, but to Ursen. And so we'll actually be going to this point here, Ursen, not up to Inbas, and then from there it's direct. So he's cleared all of these waypoints out. We're direct to Nalan. So those little kinks he's cleared us out of. So there is that. So let's come back over here. Happy with that. 260 QNH. We've got the Squawk. We've got. So yeah, let's go ahead and make a start then. So I think, yeah, and after Nalan, we'll worry about the arrival once we're there, assuming nobody gets in. So we've made our modifications. I am just going to check through those. So Rice to buy. I don't like this flickering back and forth while it's trying to figure out where the top of climb is. But regardless of that, we'll make it work. Okay, let's come then. That's all checks out good. So let's go to the normal map mode. We'll drop the range down. I think 10 nautical miles is a suitable one. And let's go ahead and start the APU. So with this on, we'll go APU power.
Monitor unit 122 decimate, amplified.
Cheers. Alright, so 22.8, so that's a bastard that he logged off just before I was about to go, so 122.8. Never mind. Yeah, so I'm not overly keen here on what the MD11 is doing with the flight plan. It's really screwing us up there, so we may have to fly it manually. At least we've got our departure here. So Edinburgh NDB 368. So we'll see, can we manually dial that one in? I think you actually need to use these. So radios, ADF, let's just try 368. And it's this one at 5 miles. UW, interesting code. Any other NDB, or is that it? That's it. So we'll tune them in on both sides. The ILS for Edinburgh, so 24 is the active. So approach. Not 06. NDB and ILS for 24 is here, so 108.90. And the course is 240. IT Hotel. There we go, IT Hotel, there we go. So that's tuned in as well. And VORs. Do we even have any VORs over here? It's not jumping out at me. No, it's NDB and ILS only. Okay. So with that in, APU's up and running and available. Let's go and get the bleed on. If I can find it. Is this not it? APU on. One quick way to check. Air. Quick look. APU is indeed on and supplying. Okay. Ground power, let's disconnect. APU power is on. Let's put the seatbelt signs on. I'm going to turn the temps down a little bit. Clear out the MC. We're aware of this. So on departure, we've got the Edinburgh NDB beacon there. We'll have this page on for departure. We'll get rid of the icon because that's cheap. But after the beacon, it's a right-hander. We've got an end. We do have something here. It's TLA VOR 1380. So we'll dial that in because we require to fly that under the departure. Just because I don't trust this particular thing. So TLA is already pre-dialed, but I'm going to manually dial it just to make sure it don't disappear. TLA is in, and we want 352 degrees. /352. There we go. And that is going to enable us to, and there we do see the marker, the dotted line, which will help us there. After the NDB, we turn right, we go towards that point at 32 miles. I wonder if we can put a fix there. Mind you, we will see it as a waypoint on here, even if we don't trust it. And then after that, it's TLA 347. So same thing again. Again, I'm going to manually dial it in just so we don't lose it. And that is a 347 degree outbound radial. We need to be on it for 38 miles up to 6. Right, I've got it. I've got it. So for now, back to taxi departure. So navs are in, flight plan, radios. So let's go to the, where do we go? Is it Perth? It's a bit different on them all. That's just with regards to cruise. Takeoff page then. Right. Let's get rid of that for a sec. Let's figure out the weights. I'll tell you what, it is fun having a different aircraft, and you know, you sort of you like to think you can do it properly, but probably not. And you know me, I hate doing checklists. So I'm probably the last person that ever should have been flying, but let's get rid of ground power because we've got our own in. We'll get rid of the cockpit stairs. And we'll close all the doors. So where do we get the performance from? Okay, we don't have any performance numbers from there. So I'm just going to flex a little bit. So we'll go like, I don't know, just a little bit. Let's go 40. Let's go 40. Play it safe. Flex 40. Flaps is the good old dial a flap. I'm going to go with 16. Dial a flap 16. Stab 4.8. So let's come over here. Let's just go to miscellaneous, what we got. Windshield defog, we can sort that one. And the DFDR is when engines are on and parking brakes are off. Electrics, we'll just check there. Emergency power test failed. I thought it worked, but regardless. Must just be because we're not yet running off our own stuff. So let's come over to the config page, and stab trim is currently 3 units. Can we change this now? No, we can't. So I guess we do need power. All right, slope and wind. Do we have an ATIS? We don't. So let's have a look on the flight plan, and I'll just use the weather that we've got from the from the flight plan. So charts. And page 9's got it today. So departure winds are 330 at 5 knots. Runway heading, I believe, was 24. Yeah, so there's no real head or tailwind component. And so just 0 on the slope, 0 on the winds. Outside air temperature is 17 degrees. And the speeds are as follows. Decision 31, rotating 31, and V2 is 145. So I'm going to put that in there. Right. Thrust limits, I think we sorted that out. Takeoff. D-rate, well, we're flexing 40, we're not D-rating per se. Excuse me. Return to takeoff then. Let's have a look. Climb thrusts. 1,636 feet. Acceleration 3,100. And engine out acceleration 936. I'm going to pick that up just a little bit to 1,100. And let's have a little look actually. What is the plan if we lose one? I'm always going to mix those up when the flight plan and the airfield are on 2 separate pages. So if we lose one, what I'm going to do, if we lose one, we'll continue the departure as prescribed. We'll right-hand it, and then when we're coming back in line with this water here, we'll just manually fly out to the east over the water. So that's what we're going to do. MSA is 3,000 in that direction, but assuming we're over the water, clearly it's not going to be. QNH was 1008, so that's dialed in on the standby, which is 2976 for you Americans. And with that, let's go ahead and plan the push.
Ground to cockpit. Plan acknowledged. Call me through the menu when you're ready.
We're ready.
Ground to cockpit. Tow is driving up.
All right, we'll just let our fellow know, so... Actually, there's no need, there's nobody there. Edinburgh grounds. Traffic. MD11 pushing back into the LA for start. Taxi runway 24. Right, so we'll go ahead, put the beacon on. I still get nervous talking on the thing. So it sounds like there's somebody else doing Summit and all, so they were lining up, I believe. Right, so beacon is on.
Okay, all doors and hatches are closed, ready to connect.
Jolly good show. Tell you what, man, 43 minutes to get to Choctaw, basically. Speaking of Choctaw. Ground ups. Dismiss the chocks. I'm not sure if it does it automatic on the MD11 or not, but they don't always, so it's best just to, unless you know every aircraft, to just make sure. Edinburgh traffic, so we've got a flight, we've got an aircraft inbound for ILS 06, which is interesting.
So connected and bypass pin inserted. Release parking brake.
Seen as... All right then, let's release.
Starting pushback, and you may start engines.
Okie doke. Yeah, so one guy's just texted in saying that he is, well, he's just dropping out of 36 now, but he's coming into runway 06. So I want to make sure we're gone as well on 24 behind this other guy that's just departing on 24 as well. So the start switches are on. Let's go ahead and start number 2. Now we've got this electric notification But again, coming over to the electric pages. I'm not so sure. I just realised you've got to pull the starter first, then put the fuel in. I think you could probably put the fuel in, it'll do it automatic. Do you know what? Let's try that. Fuel on. Yeah, fuel flow 0. Look at this. And fuel gets jumped, pumped. Basically, the fuel gets put in where it should do by itself automatically. Right, let's go ahead and close our doors. Windows, should I say. And coming down here, start 3.
Operation complete. Set parking brake.
So turn all the fuel pumps on, why not? Parking brake set.
Disconnecting tow, stand by.
And with regards to the transponder, I'm going to set it to transponder mode, so the ground mode, right?
Expressing 3,500, climb now, flight level 1, please now, left turn out.
We've got some traffic downwind for runway 24, so
Tango, Lima Alpha viewer.
we'll give the signals here and we'll go ahead start number 1. Just a quick, yeah. Right, flaps and dialer flaps set. Put the sound back on. And
Cell is disconnected and bypass pin has been removed. Hand signal on the left. We'll see you next time and have a safe flight.
Edinburgh traffic EC19 Alpha Echo turning onto base 4, runway 24.
24, great, okay. Right, parking brake disconnect. We'll do a quick flight controls check, config, and that's where we'll leave it. Down, neutral, up, neutral, looking for it going green. Left, neutral, looks good. Right, neutral, looks good. Boot check. And tiller. Okay, so we're on the go. Turn-offs are on. And we're taxiing. Edinburgh traffic, FedEx 180 taxiing, runway 24. Right, so the engines are on, 1, 2, 3. So let's come up here and APU, turn it off. And we're just waiting for it to spin out now. Oh yeah, so the trim, stab trim 4.8 units. And we've got 3, so trimming back. There's 4.8. Ground speed just a little hot there. We'll ease it off. Just got up to like 25 plus knots. Tell you what, this thing wants to run away, but we are very light. And again, for the purposes of Vagar, right? Let's have a drive-by. Right, so where is this guy? If I have a quick look on my connection. I'm actually not seeing this guy. Oh, he's still a ways away. He's still a ways away, so I'm going to take it. Right, Right, so let's go ahead. I'll tell you what, if we just put the parking brakes on a sec. I'm going to go ahead, put the transponder on and see if we see anything traffic-wise. So if we put the traffic should be indicated now. We'll increase the range. And I'm not seeing him, which is fine. So let's go ahead. Landing lights on. And strobe lights on. Release the parking brakes. Still got that electric caution. Panel is good though, so I'm not sure what it could be. MD11 nose wheel really wants to skid. Edinburgh traffic, MD11 taken 2-4 for takeoff. McGrice 3 Charlie departure. Right, so this guy is on basically a long final now behind us. Well, as in to our right, what will be behind us when we line up. And we'll just clear ourselves for takeoff now. So we'll put the nose light on. Starting the clock. I really should have looked out the window, but I was looking on the charts.
Spoiler.
Oops, spoilers. Good call. There we go. And Toga. And we've got engines on ref 1037, 100 knots. Tell you what, on this one, the rudder is, when you press the rudder pedals, there's rotate, by the way, it's very delayed action.
Traffic, Ospreys, 32, Foxtrot, Pushback, Gate 1.
So I'm waiting now for that NDB beacon. As she wants to climb. So nav mode. Let's drop the range back so we can see this a little more clearly. We'll put the speed up to 240. And I also got to remember to pull it on this one, 250. Yeah, so we were saying we weren't really going to trust this. So I'm going to go manual. And I'm going to right hand turn it now. Just because we do have the crazy issues here with the FMC. We'll start retracting the flaps. So we got just the slats. There's a view of departure then out what would be the right window. Of course, they're all painted over. Still got those massive slats stuck out. So we'll keep the turn going a little more. Does look like that craziness with the old FMC has sorted itself out a little bit. We'll get rid of the slats now. Yeah, so taking a look at our departure. Grice, so we're supposedly to stay at 6,000 until we're at Grice. Well, it is what it is, right? So let's get rid of the boards. I just realized I didn't arm RTO. That's the thing. Do you know when I'm on VATsim, I'm so concerned with trying to get that bit right. I forget something on the aircraft, and I guess that's where your checklists come into their own. excuse me a sec. Need a drink. With an invisible bottle. The magic of television, eh? Yeah, so you got more... Oh, it's the same guy. It's 3507 that's insisting on coming in on 06. Let's have a little look on the old... I'll show you here while we're waiting for the ability to climb higher. So that green line, that's us. This here is the airport. In fact, there you see it very clearly. We've got this guy here, or I don't know what happened to him. 338. So he must have crashed. 338 feet at 1 knot. So I'm not sure what happened to him. And I'm not seeing the guy who's trying to come in on the other airfield. I'm just not seeing him. Okay, so we're still doing this manual. So at this point, I'm going to go now direct to... Grace. Direct. And we'll put nav on. And we'll push the range out. And then... Yeah, then we can climb. And we were given flight level 260, so we're going to go straight on up. So let's go ahead, dial in 260. And we're a couple of miles from Grace, so you know what, I'm going to be real naughty and pull it. It's going to take the aircraft a moment or so to respond. And there's the climb, now climbing through 6,000. Yeah, we were like a couple of miles early. Let's get a little flyby. Weird how the frame rate just on that flyby. Let's try it again. Is it every time? Yeah, it's weird how it struggles just on that particular bit. Nice and smooth there. Ortho scenery really doing its thing. I think the Scottish Highlands mountains look particularly good. I guess we're not fully in the Highlands yet, but we're certainly on our way. They look good. Be nice actually to fly low through there. And the clouds now, I've said it before in xPlane, look particularly nice. I look at those there. And the fact you can zoom in on them as well. I'm not convinced it would be raining under this one. Just not convinced of it. Anyway, we'll push the range out. So Foyle was our next spot, then Urson, and then from Urson direct to Nalan. Weird that he got rid of a couple of minor kinks on our route, very minor. We're talking like a turn this way and that way by like 10-15 degrees, but this real zigzag after the SID that sort of went like that again. I just sim briefed it, but this major zig he kept in. Let's go for 300. We are well above 10,000 now. Get rid of the lights as well. We'll release the cabin crew. The turn off lights and the logo can go. Interesting that the logo there, the off, is actually lit up. The only one. Otherwise, all off would be perfect for cruise, but logo is either on or off, so there's no way really we can get around that. Taking a quick look at fuel then, and basically £33,000, just under. Let's see if we can fix, if you want to at least get rid of this caution sign here. Look at this rate of climb, 5,000 feet a minute at 21,000 feet. What would the FMC have us climb? I'll tell you what, let's find out. FMC speed. What's it want us at? Oh, that's too slow for me. Let's keep it manual. We're getting awfully close to 26. And yeah, one of the things about the MD11 is it can cruise really fast. See, we've got a really high airspeed before we get to the, you know, the barber pole. I mean, 360 knots plus indicated at 24,000 feet. I mean, show me another aircraft. Why does this always default to autopilot 2? There we go. So barber pole is like 365 knots at 25,000. So let's go. Well, we can certainly do 350. And if we can do 360, which it looks like we're going to be able to, let's go for it. You're supposed to file the sort of speed you think you'll be cruising at. And I've no idea what went down for us, but let's go ahead, pull standard as well before I forget. There we go. So there's cruise, and 360 is going to give us like a couple of knots from the barber pole. And I suppose we are Mach limited. Why is it not giving us? Oh, it is. I forget, I've got to pull it every single time. Yeah, so I wanted to try and deal with this electric message. So pressing the electric page, everything there that I see is green. We've got an emergency power test fail. So it was a test that apparently failed. So I'm looking for a test button. If we can find
information Delta. Time 1320 Zulu. Runway in use 06, transition level flight level 75, surface wind 060 degrees 4 knots, varying between 360 and 140.
So Edinburgh ATIS has just come on, so we'll turn that off, but that's a little unfortunate. I suspect ground will be on shortly thereafter. So let's push the range out, and there we go now. So direct to Nalan, so he's just... Again, if we take a look here, our route would have taken us like a little kink this way, and then there probably to where that dotted line is on the circle. It was probably something akin to that. I mean, we can find out just because we're in the cruise now. This is why I don't like doing long cruises. I mean, you know, what is there really to do on those? You know, unless you're flying over busy Central Europe, where they're handing you over all the time. It was in Bass, then to STN. Let's have a look. Oh, by the way, radios. Yeah, we can detune these now. Nav radio. So let's clear. Let's clear 2. And I just want to tune in STN. Just so we can see, yeah, there we go. So our flight plan was to take us over this particular VOR here. So it's actually a kink slightly to the left. And then a daisy, which is just a fix. And then from there, direct to Nalan. We are expecting runway 30, and just because it is kind of a crazy approach, you're in for a treat, by the way, if you've never been to Vagar before. And after seeing this video, you'll probably want to go do it yourself. So let's dial in Vagar on the charts, which is EKVG, if memory serves. Yeah. So let's start with our own ATIS info, seeing as there's very unlikely to be a controller on. Although before I completely embarrass myself, I should just check. It's actually another aircraft heading towards Vagar right now, but they're almost there. They're like, well, they're already down at 10,000 feet, so that gives you an idea. Not far. They came from KSWF, so that's America. In any case, yeah, we was to fly over Stornoway Island. That's what STN is. Do we have, let's have a look here. I was wondering, do we have the ability to see the ground on this? I don't think so. Just the weather, which was on, I guess, by default, unless I forgot to. I did forget. Oh well, there we go. We could see it was all good. Yeah, so Vagar winds 310.5, 270, variable 340, so kind of from the northwest. Few clouds at 2,100, temperatures 14, QNH 1014. Can we pre-dial on this aircraft? 1014, I believe, is standard anyway. All for stat white, 1013, maybe it is 10. I thought it was 1014, QNH 1014, but it's default into 1013. It's 2992, right? Why is it default into 2991? 2992? Who knows? In any case, with a north, I think it's an east-west runway, so that means we need to be approaching it from the west, and or rather towards the west would perhaps be a better way of saying it. And it looks like this guy, based on his height, is gonna swing round as well. So taking a look at the charts then, because it's gonna creep up on us because of how fast we're going. 160 miles to this ring, Nalan, which is very close to the airfield. So first off, yeah, let's have a look at the airfield. So 5,900 feet, so just shy of 6,000. Take a look at elevations here to get an idea of the hump. 264 at 12. At the far side, it's 235. So you may say, well, that's just a very slight downhill or uphill. Yeah, but look at airfield elevation. We have a little look here. It says 280, so it's not even showing it's dramatic, but 280 is obviously higher than 264 and 235, but I'm telling you, it's much more dramatic. Like, we'll be landing with a positive rate of climb. That's how uphill it is. We'll be landing with a positive VS. Yeah, so runway 30 is the one we need, so 305 on the final. So if we take a look, let's start building up from that way. So approach 30, we've got the ILS, which, yeah, we can do, but if you take a look here, the Arnav Whiskey for 30, Doesn't that look a little bit more adventurous and exciting than the ILS? We've got these lovely curved points beginning from Sudur, which was that originally part of my flight plan? I'm not sure. But in any case, that's probably what we want. That is the Whiskey. Let's have a look at the Victor. Victor also begins from Sudur, so what's the difference between these two then? Let's look at them both. Victor Golf 160, Victor, they're slightly different waypoints. Victor Golf 984, 956, 160, 4,000 mandatory. What makes these different? Let's check the minimums. 525, 525. I see. This one on the final is a straight line. Final approach 304. Trying to see what's the difference between these two. Final approach 303, so it's like 1 degree difference. But if we take a look here, this one seems to straighten us out at the very end on final, whereas this one doesn't. And so I'm going to go with the more fancy one, which is definitely this one. So we'll clear out the initial one. And that would appear to be the Victor 30. And again, that starts us from Sudur. So let's see if we can find ourselves a star now. There is no star. So Sudur is where we want to be. I'm just wondering, did we have Sudur in our original plan? The only reason I'm wondering is because the guy changed us. Now, I don't expect him to know or have checked necessarily, but what he helped us do with the shortcuts helped us. No, it's all to Nalan. So let's manually then from Nalan to Sudur. Let's try it. So SUDUR. That's in. Okay, and that's good. That brings us closer, so that's fine. And if we switch over to plan mode, and we'll zoom in a little bit now, and we'll focus it on Sudur. There we see is our destination, just to the northwest of Sudur. And we want the RNP Victor 30. So let's try it. So EKVG, star even though there ain't one, approach, ILS is a no-go, runway 3030, I think that actually stands for the RNAV. So the R30 Victor, so R30 Victor. So we'll rig that up. And transition Sudur, no two ways about it. Insert, there we go. So there's Sudur. Let's just zoom in because we need to check this. Because this aircraft, if I remember, had a tendency to be hot and heavy. So whatever it says will descend nice and early. So Sudur 4000. So coming in here, Sudur, and if we check this, altitudes, well, let's just put at or above 4. Okay, that's in. And then 984 is a mandatory, and that is in there. So to make sure that we're not too hot, VG 985, I'm going to set that to mandatory as well. And my thinking is, if the profile's all off, I've then got 9.6 miles to put it right. From there, 984 160, the restrictions in. Then come round to Victor Golf 980, and I assume now we can look at the charts. Yeah, there we go. 980, 2,590, I guess. 2,800. It's not quite the same, is it? 97823 is 2230. That's fairly close. It's a 3.6 degree downslope, so this is quite a steep approach. So I really don't want to be putting 200 feet extra on before we even start. So Victor Golf 980. I'm going to modify this if at all possible 2590. And it has let me. So Victor Golf 978, I'm going to do the same. No, why is it 2-1? It's 2-2-30. These are mandatory heights. No at or above, it's got to be. 976 is 1.8, that is in. And again, I want to be at that height, not at or above. I want to be at it. 1.8. And 974 is 920. I'll leave that as an at or above in case we miss. Then we've got 750. And then Victor Golf 900 is 295. Let's look at a few other things. RMP, so the required navigation performance of 0.1 nautical miles. That's because we're basically in between hills and we're in or mountains. So we need to know exactly where we are. Minimum 525. I am going to go with the barometric just because the radar could get triggered. Well, you'll see when we get there. The terrain, you know, we come in, unless this is a different approach, quite low at some point. So minimums. And again, I'm setting that over to the baro. And what did we say it was? 525. Actually starting from... Oh, again, I love this where you can flick the mouse wheel. Look how quick those numbers go up if I flick it. Thousands of feet. Just a couple of flicks. That's how it should be. And then you slow it down, you be precise. I just don't understand why they don't all do that. 525. Okay, back to the normal flight plan, then back to the map. And we'll push range out. I'm not sure if we can do fixes, but there is a fix button. Looks like we can have up to 2. So let's put our first fix, just so we don't get crept up on here. Echo, Kilo, Victor, Golf. Mainly so if I'm babbling away, we don't all of a sudden get there. And radials I don't care about, it's just the distance. And this looks more like the Boeing where you can have up to 3, I think. So from the airfield, if we're at 26,000 feet, we'll times that by 3. That gives us 78 miles. We're also doing 150 knots above 200 knots. And so it's add another 15. So for every 10 knots you're above 200 knots in the cruise, you add 1 nautical mile. So 15 nautical miles plus the 78 for the height makes it 90, 92, 93. And again, we're saying we're allowing a bit extra because it's hard to slow down. We've only got a very minor curve. Do you know what? Let's just give it 99. Will it accept that? Yes, it will. Let's put it as a radial though. I put slash 99. Do you have right, let's try something else then. 180/99. Does that work? Oh, come on, I need a radio. What is this? Well, this is not very good. Why can't I put a distance in? Try 100. 350/100. You're just gonna give the distances to where I'm gonna intercept it. That's not what I want. I wanted to put a radius. Well, there's another way that I can sort of be kept aware of it, and that is to make a custom waypoint. So what I'm gonna do is, I can't do it from the airfield, but I can take a fix that's close. Victor Golf 972 would be perfect. So let's try it. Victor Golf, I've never tried creating a custom waypoint in this, it's a test. Victor Golf 972, and because it's more Airbus than Boeing, we do put a slash in. From there, it's roughly, it's not quite 180, it's more like 170. And we said about 99 miles, so let's try it. And let's just put it after Nalan. There is the custom waypoint. So that custom waypoint, PBD00, in theory, is 99 miles away from, you know, the airfield 170, but it looks like we need to be a few more degrees over, so I'm going to try 160, but the same thing again. So again, it'd be much easier if I could just draw a circle. Victor Golf 972 on a radial of 160 at 99 miles. We'll drop that in. And that there's almost perfect. That for me is close enough. So what I'm going to do is go direct. Hang on, flight plan. Let me just connect the disco up. So after there, let's join that up. So direct to PBD01. There we go. And that was so close to Sadur that it, you know. And then from PBD01, in theory, that's a plan to drop it down. Yeah, from there then to Sadur, look at that. So from our custom waypoint to this point here. And again, the reason I was obsessing about that custom waypoint is it's going to be a very quick, easy way for us to know, right, we're 99 miles away from the airfields. And in this case, it's actually 99 miles away from VG972, which is like a mile or so away. If we see there, 1.2 miles away. Yeah. Right, we've got the minimums in, which is 525. It's going to be an RNAV approach, which I've not... don't think I've done one in the MD11. Hey, that looks good. Done it through the clouds. You know what? Screenshot. Actually, I want myself. Let me just get rid of myself. Just cause thumbnail, right? Screenshot. Bring myself back. Screenshot. One with, one without, then I can decide. Oh, and the sun actually looks a little better. Let's move the camera away a little bit and zoom in. Hang on, I don't... The camera weren't very centered up there, so I'm going to have to custom it. There we go, nice view of all the engines. screenshot, and we'll move slightly away from the plane. There we go, that looks pretty good. I should pull one of those silly faces. You know the thumbnails I'm talking about. Hang on, I'm trying to... And the thing is, if I put that on as a thumbnail, I'll get double the views. And you know, if I actually do that just to be silly, if you're only watching this because I was pulling a stupid face on the thumbnail, shame on you. Shame on you. Right. Yeah, we couldn't fix the electric issue, whatever that was. Status, which is sort of what you roll with. So yeah, emergency power test fail. I didn't see it, but I like the config. Right, let's go back to normal map. Push the range out. Can we have a probe alt error VG9? No, there's no alt error, man. So we're less than 80 miles away from what is basically our top of descent. Progress page. Echo Golf Victor Charlie, distance to go 186. Reckons we're going to have 17.9 left on the fuel. So let's start figuring out approach speeds. Landing weight 3081. I'm wondering, is that based on current weight or is that based on what it thinks when we'll get there? Because if it's the Boeing, it's current weight and you've got to knock off however much fuel you think you're going to use between now and then. And fuel. That there shows gross weight 314.9, so 308, so it is estimated landing weight, which is helpful. Definitely going to have to go flaps 50 on this because it's a short runway. Gives an approach speed of 137 and ref 132, which is landing. So going to go with that. And I'm also going to grab, I tell you what, I can do it on here, can't I? So over to Sim Toolkit. If we take a look here at our destination, let me just check you can see it. Yeah, on the very right hand of the screen here, Echo Kilo Victor Golf, I beg your pardon. Let's have a look. Arrival details. Weather details, that's what I was looking for. And this was, I just have to lean right in to see because it's small numbers and I'm old and the screen's halfway across the other side of the desk. So let's have a look. Full of excuses, me. Winds are 350 at 3 knots and the pressure UNH 1014. So they are the standard, which is nice and simple. So I'm just going to change this to 1014. We'll put the standby on 1014 as well. Got to remember to turn the mouse wheel slow. 1014 2993. And your side is 1014. Gonna have the config page there. And just because, well, I don't know. Let's have a look. What are the flap speeds here? So if you take a look here, we've got limits for the dialer flaps. So 1 to 15, 255, 16 to 20 is 240. So it makes sense really to have it set at 15 degrees so that we can use the flaps as sort of air brakes really to help slow us below 255. Once we get below 240, we can go up to 20. Once it's below 220, we can go up to 25. You know, best practice is not to ride it right up to the limit, but to knock, you know, 10, 15 knots off that if possible. Anyway. Sorry, I just realized I was showing the overlay there a little bit too long. Yeah, so what I was just talking about was this. the dialer flap setting. So currently not active, and again, unique to the MD11. So what happens is, when we put the handle down from up to 0, at 0 the flaps stay in, but the slats come out, you know, the leading edge flaps. Boeing calls it flaps 1. I think the flaps maybe do move a tad, but in any case, the MD11 calls it flaps 0. So the difference between up and 0, because some people think, well, aren't they the same thing? Well, they are, but the slats come out. And then after the first setting is then dialer flap. And all that means is we get to dial, do we want 10 degrees all the way up to... Oh, of course I miss it. Can I just... Is there not a quicker way of... Oh, there we go. 25. And so based on what we dial, here is the speed restriction. And so if you're trying to slow down, it makes sense to go to flaps 15 because you can get 255 knots out of it. And so that's what we're going to do. Flaps 15. Come on. I'll tell you what, man, this is a very finicky... I think it's probably because I'm not... There we go. For some reason, some switches, you move the camera a bit and they're much easier to use. Right, we're coming right up to this point here, and I am going to slow down just a tad to like 340. Tell you what, we never did release to passengers, all one of them. Let's actually see. Right, it's noisy back here. Where has he gone? Well, he's disappeared, but he's maybe checking on his cargo. Right, I'm just going to message, real brief, my significant other and let her know. Right, all sorted. So very close, very close. Let's have a look. I'm not sure if we get a look at where it's wanting us to decelerate. This is why I think there's a screw loose with MD11. It wants us to descend in about 60 miles time. You can see where top of descent is, which is so different compared to my custom waypoint. Now I know my waypoint was based on a straight line to the airfield, and we've got this very slight little curve here, but is that curve really like 50-60 miles? Don't forget, this circle here is 80. From the mid to the edge is 80. So I think from this dot to this arrow is like, it's maybe 50 miles, but it's is that little indentation really worth? I don't think so. And again, the airfield, I know it's not 0, but it's not high. What did we say it was? 280 feet. The runway's 235, which is what we're going off. I mean, that's where we're landing, right, on the runway, 235. So yeah, according to the charts there, 235 to 280, I mean, that's 45 feet up. It's way more than that. At least it was last time I flew there. We'll see, I've never been on there with the ortho scenery, so we'll have to have a look. I do like this thing, the holographic throttle. I think I've said it before in the MD11. So this holographic throttle is where I'm physically moving my throttle lever. And because I've only got 2 throttles, you know, the Warthog, I don't have 3 levers, I've got the 2. And so I just stick them together and use them as one. I do have the multi-throttle add-on, but it, for whatever reason, never worked right with this module. But again, this holographic thing lets you physically move your throttle to sync up where the throttle really is, and then you can disconnect the auto throttle, and you know, your engines aren't suddenly going to spool up or drop down. Anyway, so here we are now at top of descent, and left turn should be taking place any sec. Let's get a flyby, see if we can grab the turn on the flyby. That's a... and there it is. So let's move the camera off to the side real quick, just because of that insane vapor trail. Yep, so there's the turn. And there was the vapor trail. One hell of a trail. It kind of insane. Alright, sound back on. Let's begin our descent, just because I don't trust this. And then once again we've got this alt error. Approach speed, so ref 137. Is that made note of? I'm just going to make a note of that. 137 and 132 landing speed, and that is flaps. I'll just put 50 degrees to remind us. Right, let's start coming down. First stop then 10,000. Now we'll pull it. Actually got got 3 aircraft on the ground at Vagar, which is interesting. As best I can tell. Now, nearest ATC to our position is literally London, so... Anyway, we're on a nice descent here, 340 knots, so coming in real nice and quick. And let's go ahead and seatbelt signs on and turn off lights on. And logo light on as well. EKVG. So I think I'm just going to put out a notification on the chat that we're coming in on, best remind myself, RNP Victor 30. Again, the RNP Victor runway 30 Hiya, Sir. And just put on the prog ETA 1440. Right, there we go. So we've let everybody know. You see us on the text there in blue. That's what I've just put in. So letting anybody there know. And I will just check on this once in a while. So we'll be coming over an island shortly. And I will keep the overlays on this particular one just to make sure we get it right. And I'm going to scale down the size of it there. So we're getting in close now. Airfield is within 80 nautical miles. And here we are at 11,000 feet. So I'm going to drop the speed back now. Let's go 250 to begin with. And pull it. So you see we're 40 miles away from Victor Golf 985, 41. Still got 500 feet to go before 10,000 and we've got all the speed to lose. There's no way if we'd have waited another 40-50 miles before beginning that whole thing, we'd have been, you know, 40-50 miles away. We're there. So I don't know what the top of descent is playing at. Let's drop to 240. I'll tell you what, we'll go 250 just because the extra bit of speed will help us with the drag. Here's 260. Let's start the descent then. And it's 4,000. So let's just pull it down to 4. See where we're going to get there. 984 is where we need to be. 4,000 at 160. So 4,000 feet where that blue arrow is, that gives us that little bit of room there to then lose, in this case, 90 knots. Do you know what? Landing lights are on. Let's go ahead, seat the cabin crew. Let's get rid of the alt error, we don't care. So your side, I'm going to put, I don't normally put the performance on your side and the legs on the other, but just because it's quite a complicated one, I'm going to switch that over so the approach is on your side. Just in case I need to refer to it. Minimums, we've set 525, so just going to get rid of that now. So let's go flaps 0 and see if the slats modify our descent slightly. And again, because we set dialer flap 15, which we can deploy up to 255 knots, we are at 250. We should be able to do that. So there we go, flaps set to dialer flap, and my thinking is they will create a little bit of drag that will help us get there a little sooner, and it does look like it's ever so slight. I still feel like we're coming in hot, and so you know what, the quickest way to deal with, it's a short runway, as we said, once we're halfway along it's downhill, and so we're going to go auto brake maximum. And I'm going to drop the speed off now to 160. Let's get rid of the boards. Let's arm them. Probably a little bit preemptive, but never mind. Do you know what? It is a little bit. Let's leave them. Auto brake maximum is set. Smoking signs, seatbelt signs are on. We've got that electric sign that's been of bother the whole time. We are fine. think I'm just going to get rid once more of the flaps. We'll keep the slats extended. It did come down quite quick at the end.
Stabilizer motion.
Right, I've got to be really on the ball with this one because I'm not convinced that this thing has an RNAV approach. And, you know, we'll use the LNAV and vertically do it ourselves. Let's have a look. Missed approach procedure is 4,000 and hold. So I will wind it out the way for a second just to get the vertical speed going, and then we'll set it back to 4,000. Let's have a look over here. So here we are entering the area. Again, I'll leave it on just for this time, but we can see exactly where we are here anyway. What I am interested in is this here, this particular part. Again, we said 3.6 down, so it's... And we said ETA was 40, so we've basically let everybody know about 13 minutes we're going to be there. I'm not sure. Progress estimated now 42, so we've added a couple of minutes on, which, you know, I'm not going to pay too much attention to that. I think we'll be fine. Let's put a little bit of speed on. Yeah, so weird how that height thing just caught up at the end. 20 miles. I'm still not convinced the 60 miles. I mean, we were using air brakes for some of that descent. 984, that's where we need to be, 160. So 25 miles. I screwed up, didn't I? Came down far too early. But one of the islands here, and it does look like the ortho scenery is doing its thing, even up on the Faroe Islands, which is nice to see. They are connected, I believe. They've got a heli, I think all of them have, or certainly the bigger islands have all got a heliport on them. But I think ours is the only one with a runway. Certainly the only one with a runway that's capable for a jet. So the right-hander here is beginning. I'm just going to... Now, there's no... Now, there's no controller or anything on. Now look at this, we've got our first bit of traffic we've seen on the scope. So this guy is 1,000 feet above us. Let's have a little look. Yeah, I see him. So he is on long final, so whoever he is will be behind him. And he's doing the boring ILS approach. Well, we're 20 miles behind him. It looks like we are catching up a little bit, but that's fine.
Traffic, traffic, traffic.
Really? You're going to start ringing and dinging when they're 20 miles away? At least we got a traffic on VATsim. Never had one before, but at 20 miles, come on. And we got it as soon as he dropped down. He was less than 10,000 away. We see there's other traffic here at Vagar as well. Nobody seems to be saying anything on... So let's just knock... I don't know, let's keep it going. Let's just go to 245. Okay, he's descending on us now, and we'll zoom in once more. So Victor Golf 985, and then it's 984, and that is the 160, and it's currently about 15 miles to go. I just hear a little crackle on the radio, but didn't hear anything, so... let's check up here then. What we'll do is we'll put out a notification saying we're on final, and then we'll treat that as though we've been cleared to land, and we'll put the nose light on with it. That's the plan. I did put yeah. So he's about 12 or 14 miles ahead. I think if you zoom in, you can sometimes see him, as in the text appears, but I guess he's just a little too far away. He's now 900 feet beneath us. There he is, in the clouds. So fortunately we only see the text. And he's too low. Look at this, he's 1100 feet and he's only just gone past Victor 984. Who's that now? Oh, it's this guy coming our way. Right, let's slow down to 160. Seeing as we're inside 10 miles now.
Vaga traffic, Airberlin 119 on final approach, 5 miles to go.
By the way, Vanguard traffic, scale 1777, go around.
Vanguard traffic, MD11 number 2 for approach. And we are on, let's have a little look. I keep forgetting the name of it. Victor 30. Well, there you see us, we're coming in. Victor Golf 984. I never expected there to be anybody here. Let's go flaps now, dial a flap. And because we are through 200, I'm just going to up it to 20 degrees. So dial a flap 20, and then the next setting is 28, then 35, then 50. Alright. So 984, very close. We'll zoom in again, about 4 miles to go. I'm gonna hit approach. We've got land armed, but I'm not sure if it's got it. So if it don't start descending, again, we'll wind this out the way like that. We've got to remember to reset it to 4,000. You see, there's this guy behind us here, and he's intercepting 984, so he's less than 5 miles away. So he's on this missed approach here. He's basically coming up to Victor Golf 986. And I assume he's sticking to the speed restrictions, because I am. Do you know what? Let's just put a couple of knots on, because he's getting a bit close here. It is a 160, right? I guess he doesn't have to be 160 till he got there. Okay, let's try this descent then.
Vaga traffic, runway cleared.
Down we go. 900 feet a minute. Now, what is our speed that we should have? Roughly Our ground speed is 180, so 1,000 feet just more than. So let's just get ourselves 1,100 feet in, and I will reduce now to 160.
Traffic.
Yeah, well, he should spin off. We're just ahead of him.
Traffic, Faroe Island 407's taxiing to backtrack runway 30.
Vanguard, let's give an update. Progress 14:39. What time we on? Vanguard traffic, MD11, 3 minutes to landing, runway 28. Correction 30.
Traffic.
Right, I have to really focus here. So 1,800 feet at 976. This guy is just going to fly straight through me. He's just... This is BS here. I mean, this guy, no way is he following the restriction for a start. Whatever, right? We're going no matter what. I mean, we're at like 170, and he's going to overtake.
Traffic.
Really? Right, gear down then. And let's go FMS speed. Set the height to 4,000. Runway is in sight. And we'll clear ourselves to land. We're coming in too hot here.
1,000.
Flaps full.
Sink rate.
500.
Yeah, we're going to have the air brakes on.
400.
Just to help us here for landing.
300.
I tell you what, this is, they've smoothed this out some.
200.
Sink rate.
100. 50. 40. 30. 20. 10.
This is totally different to what it used to be.
10.
Reverses out. Manual braking. Auto brake was disconnected. Idle reverse. I had no idea there would be so many here. And let's go ahead, boot the APU. Get rid of the landing lights.
Lap.
Bag of traffic, runway 30 clear.
Take scan 1777, 5 miles Faroe 30, bug traffic.
We'll plonk it here, I think, on the helipads. That there will do. The bases are rumbling. Not much room spare. I guess I'm illegally big here, but you know what? So this was the guy that called 5 Mile final. Let's get rid of those lights. Nose light off. Turn the weather off. Oh no, I turned it off. There. Squawk to ground. I think some of these are practicing touch and go, but yeah, there used to be a really big hill here. In fact, where's all the terrain gone? I've just noticed it's completely flat. As in, not just where we are, but the surround. This here was like a big mountain, and over here as well. This is the first example I've seen where the automated ortho scenery has actually made a worse job than the default scenery. This is the first example. Alright, and so with that, let's try shut off. 3, 2, 1. Let's get rid of the speed brakes.
Fahrer traffic on 30 clear.
There's the shutdown. And ground operations. Chocks, ground power unit, cockpit stairs, fuel, open the cockpit door, open all the cargoes, load manager, and let's set it to 0.
Got traffic Faroe Island 407's backtracking 30 and then departing.
Clear. So there we go. Stairs are there. Ground power activated. APU power deactivated. APU bleeds off. With that, beacon is nav lights off, beacon off, logo off. System 3, 2, 1 off. Anything else? The signs can disappear. Turn the emergency lights off. I don't need to turn the cockpit lighting off, but instead Squawk will turn that fully off now that we have come into stand. Turn that off, turn that back on. And that's gonna be it. So grounds power off. 3, 2, 1 standby power off. Open the battery cover. 3, 2, 1, and that's off. And there we are, cold and dark, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you enjoyed that one very much. And until next time from me, somewhere 400-500 miles north of Scotland in the Faroe Islands at Vagar. Take care, bye-bye. And yeah, ortho scenery, that's, you know, up until today was a 10 out of 10. This makes it a 9 out of 10. And you can clearly see why. It says Vagar, which is very hilly and mounty, is shown up flat as a pancake. Yeah, even over here. In fact, from above, you can see, if you just look at the textures, that there should be hills. You can sort of perhaps, you know, just use a bit of common... it's kind of hard to see from down there, but from up here, you can sort of use common sense. You can see where some of these textures, where there's shade, you can tell there that, for example, is a mountain. But yeah, unfortunately, it's come up as just flat as a pancake. I mean, mountains everywhere. It is a very mountainous area. I don't know what went wrong with it. All right, until next time, take care.